It's time to reveal my first Euro Fantasy team selection. I'll be going through the essential players for matchday one, including some surprise picks that I really think need to be in your team. As always, make sure you do drop a like and smash the subscribe button for all the Euro content that is coming this summer. Enough chatting, let's get into this team reveal. So similar to Fantasy Premier League, we get £100 million to spend for our 15-man squad. And like FPL, I really enjoy putting in the essentials first and foremost. And then I look to fill in the gaps as we progress throughout the squad building. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Although it's worth noting, I don't think there are many absolute essentials for match day one, but there are some obvious names that we do need to include in this squad. So in the sticks right now in goal, I think there are a few good goalkeeper options, but I'm currently leaning towards England's number one, Jordan Pickford. Now, I think the squad is actually decent this year for England, and I think the group stage is quite tricky. I think Serbia is not an easy game with some of the forwards that they have available to them, like Mitrovic. Then Denmark under Raonic, I think that is going to be a tricky game as well. Finishing off with Slovenia, that should be the easier game for England in that group stage. Now, Jordan Pickford being at 5 million, we know what Southgate does. He first and foremost tries to build on a stable defensive team. Now, I don't think the defence is very good this year with the likes of Luke Shaw out potentially, Maguire injured, John Stones out of favour at Man City, but we know Southgate really tries to build a fundamental base defensively on clean sheets. And I do think Jordan Pickford at 5 million is the route to go for if you're just looking for some England investment. And I think the fixtures do justify it. So Jordan Pickford is going to be the first player that I deem not essential, but pretty likely to be in my team. And please do ignore the current names in that squad. They are not relevant to the team that we are building right now. Outside of the rest of the goalkeepers, I don't think there are many essentials, but we will come on to those in a minute. Now, moving into the defenders, if this player starts the next few friendlies for Germany, he is absolutely essential. And that is going to be Mittelstadt. Now, there's been a lot of talk about him right now in the content world. 4 million is ridiculously underpriced considering he started the last two friendlies at left back and scored in one of them. He's only 9% owned, but remember, Germany are the host nation and the group for them is really, really good. Scotland in match day one, so even if you're looking to maybe use your chips in match day 2 and 3, the fixture is still good enough to have Mittelstadt in your team. Match day 2 against Hungary, not amazing, but it's still an okay fixture, and finishing the group off against Switzerland. I think that is a decent set of fixtures for the host nation. And if Mittelstadt comes in at left back at 4 million, this player is just an essential pick in our defence because it enables investment in other areas at 4 million. So he is in as part of the essential group. But outside of him, I don't think there are many other essential players. For my team currently, I am leaning towards Theo Hernandez. I do think that he is a fantastic option right now in that French defence. Now, we know that he will be playing at left back. We know he offers attacking returns. And I think France's group is actually really tricky. I've been looking at it over the last few days. I think offensively, France can still do really well. But I'm questioning whether Theo Hernandez is worth his 5.5 million price bracket. Austria in the first game, I think that's a tough game to kick things off. Then they have, of course, the Netherlands. We know that they have attacking threat in their side. So I don't think a clean sheet's necessarily guaranteed. And then they finish things off with Poland, the likes of Lewandowski. It's tricky. It's not an easy game at all, or set of fixtures. Right now, I'm going to put him in my squad. But I do think this one is slightly up for debate as we progress building this squad. But I do like him as an option. Now, outside of this, I do think the other cheap option that we need to consider is going to be Wout Faes. We expect him to start for Belgium. And remember, Belgium are a team that are very hard to predict because they're in a bit of a transition right now with some old guard and some new faces coming in. But 4 million and a group that is quite appealing. Slovakia in match day 1, Romania in match day 2 and Ukraine in match day 3. I could see some low scoring games over this period. And at 4 million, I think Wout Faes is a really easy investment for our teams. When we can save money, we need to. And I think he's a great pickup to go alongside Mittelstadt as our 2 4 million defenders. So this one isn't absolutely locked in, but I really do like Wout Faes in that defence. We're going to come back to the other 2 defenders in a minute because, as I said, I haven't really got any other guarantees in my team that I think are locked in for match day 1 at the time recording. Now, Moving into the midfielders, of course, this is where it gets a little bit more exciting. The first name I want to put into the hat right now is going to be Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, this is a player that, if you played FPL this season, really was underwhelming. I was expecting this box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder. Didn't really come to fruition. Maybe we see a different player under Arne Slot this year. But what is absolutely guaranteed is Dominik Szoboszlai in this Hungary team. He is the heartbeat of this side. If they're going to do well in this tournament, Dominik Szoboszlai is going to be at the heart of everything good. On set pieces, the driving force in this team, and only 7 million for what I'm going to deem basically their talismanic figure, I think is a great investment. Now, the fixtures are okay. Switzerland in match day 1, Germany is not ideal in match day 2, followed by Scotland in match day 3. Again, it's going to depend on what your chip strategy is, but I think match day 1 is good enough to have Szoboszlai in your team, especially at 7 million. I think there are some midfielders in the game who are well priced, some that are overpriced. I think he's underpriced right now. So Szoboszlai for me is an absolute lock for match day 1. I think he is a brilliant option for our teams. Now, I'm going to put one in the hat here that I think is a little bit controversial. But again, when we are looking to build squads, we want to try and save cash along the way. And this guy ticks a lot of these boxes, and it's going to be a certain Scott McTominay. Now, hear me out. 7 goals in Euro qualifying. This is a very different Scott McTominay to what we see in a Man United shirt. Now, don't get me wrong, Scotland's group is not ideal at all. Germany in match day 1, Switzerland in match day 2, and Hungary to finish things off. And remember, this is a Scotland team that aren't necessarily expected to do anything in this tournament, but if they are going to do something, I do think Scott McTominay is similar to Szoboszlai's talisman in this team. And they do have some good players at Scotland. Let's not get me wrong. They've got McGinn. They've got people like Robertson, Tierney, even people like Che Adams up top. I do think that this is a good investment in your team at 6.5 million. Is he going to be the guy that gets you all the points? Absolutely not. But is he going to enable you to bring other players into your team? He is. And for that reason, I think Scott McTominay at 6.5 million is a really decent investment. There was never going to be a fixture that looks good for Scotland, but I do think that he is a great pickup at that price range. So Scott McTominay is currently in. He is just a great option in this game. Now, outside of this, I think getting a bit of Bruno Fernandes is where my heart is lying right now. I think Bruno Fernandes in this Portugal team is not as influential as that at Man United. Basically, everything runs through him at Man United. But when we look at this Portuguese team, it is absolutely stacked this year. Ronaldo, Leao coming in as a forward, it's worth mentioning. Otherwise, he would definitely be a midfielder consideration. But of course, they have other fantastic influences in this team. But Bruno Fernandes still comes up with goals and assists for his national team. And when we look at the fixtures, I would argue Portugal have one of the best groups in this campaign. Czech Republic to kick things off, followed by Turkey, followed by Georgia. I think they are unbelievable fixtures. And while Portugal have struggled to keep guaranteed clean sheets in their friendlies and qualifiers, there's no doubt that they are scoring goals over this period. And I really like Bruno Fernandes at 9 million. He is going to take the place of an English player, it is worth noting, in my current squad. But I think it is worthwhile just because of the Portuguese attacking talent. You want a piece of that pie. So right now, Bruno Fernandes is coming in as one of the essential players in match day 1. But outside of that, I haven't really got any other guaranteed names for you. However, I think there are 2 for this front line, and there shouldn't be any surprises right now. First and foremost, Sir Harold Kane. I can't see a world where I don't have Harry Kane in this team. As we mentioned, we want players that are guaranteed minutes, and Harry Kane ticks all those boxes. Guaranteed minutes on penalties, and historically he's done well in the big tournaments. Serbia to kick things off, Denmark in match day 2, Slovenia in match day 3. I just think he is Mr. Obvious in match day 1. I don't think you need to overthink it. I know people probably think maybe England are a little bit overhyped this competition, but whatever people think, Harry Kane is always going to be the heartbeat of the goals in that England team. And if they're going to be favourites, I think you want the goal scorer. So Harry Kane is going to be in this team. And if you're going to have the England goal scorer, I think you need the French goal scorer as well. And that is going to be Kylian Mbappe. Look at his ownership, 76% owned. It takes an unbelievably brave manager to go against Kylian Mbappe right now. And when we look at the fixtures, I think they're quite tricky, but I always back France to score in every single fixture. Austria, Netherlands, and then Poland. I just think Mbappe's missed obvious once again. Get Kane and Mbappe in your team. Get the two best goal scorers in this competition, and then we can look to add alongside those. And if we could afford another top forward, then so be it. But I don't think we compromise on the positions of Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe. So outside of that, I think this team is pretty locked in terms of those positions. I think they accommodate each other well. The other positions are up for grabs, and we're going to go through the ones I currently have for my first draft. We've got 37 million euros left to play with. So first up in goal, I am leaning towards, at the time of recording, Mats Sels. Now, Courtois has just been ruled out of the competition. It just doesn't sound like he was completely match fit. And Sels is the number one Belgian goalkeeper to replace Courtois. And I think that's a big move now. Him coming in at 4 million for a piece of that Belgian defence. I don't really rate Belgium, but I think their group's very good. As we've discussed, Slovakia, followed by Romania, followed by Ukraine. I can see low-scoring games, and I think Sels at 4 million is just a really good investment into that Belgium defence. And it would mean we'd have a double up of him and Wout Faes, but I think that's perfectly fine. So just to save a bit of cash, I think Sels is a really good investment in that backup goalkeeper department. Now, looking at the rest of the defence, we've got 2 4 million defenders. We got Theo Hernandez as a bit of a premium. I do think there is another opportunity for us to put maybe a bit more of a premium defender in this team. And I've been umming and ahhing on what direction to go for with this squad. I thought about Frimpong because of this unbelievable season that he's had with Bayern Leverkusen. But the group isn't fantastic. Poland, France, and then Austria. I'm not expecting tons of clean sheets, but he is obviously an amazing wing back, and with Netherlands playing a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 formation, he is going to be really pivotal. The one concern is that Dumfries is the other wing back. Are we going to see Frimpong and Dumfries on either flank, or are we going to see rotation on that right wing spot? That is my main concern right now, but I really do like Jeremy Frimpong in this defence. But I am going to currently lean towards Cancelo. I do think he is a brilliant option. Do I love the fixtures? Yes. Do I love the Portuguese defence? No. But because the fixtures are so good, I am leaning towards Cancelo as that investment in the Portuguese team. And I do think there's going to be so many goals scored in this team for Portugal. I want as many pieces of that I can afford. I think Cancelo is worth the premium price. Now, last up for the defenders, I haven't been excited by many in this team, it is worth noting. One player that I've been looking at is potentially getting Akanji in the team. For Switzerland, I think the fixtures are okay. I think Hungary is okay, Scotland, and then finishing off with Germany is not ideal. But at 5 million, I think that's a good investment in this Switzerland defence, who I'm expecting to do okay. The other one is going to be DeMarco, but this one is going to be very dependent on your chip strategy. Match day 1 is fantastic against Albania, but then they have Spain, followed by Croatia. So if you're in a position where maybe you are limitless chip in match day 2, wildcard in match day 3, I think DeMarco is a brilliant option for your teams, and it's something that I might be considering as well. And at 5 million, I think he is a great investment. So we're going to put him in the team for now, but I do think that one is really up for debate in who is going to be that 5th defender. Moving into the rest of the midfield, again, there is a lot of positions up for grabs right now. One player that I think we need to consider is going to be Spain's Rodri. I know it sounds ridiculous right now considering he is a defensive mid for Man City, but we need to remember how points are scored in this game. Now, player of the match gets 3 points. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Rodri was one of those to pick that up. Goals from outside the box, where we've seen him do that countless times for Man City. And, of course, balls recovered. 3 balls recovered equals 1 point. And we need to remember as well, Rodri is a penalty taker for Spain. So that is another massive point that we need to consider for him. I really like Rodri as another cheap enabler into this team. I know it looks ridiculous having Szoboszlai, like McTominay and Rodri, but I'm very, very tempted to go that direction. The other one that I really do like is going to be in the Turkey national team. Can never pronounce him. Kalajou, something like that. Penalty taker. Unbelievable season for Inter Milan. Goal scorer. only 5% owned, and the opening game against Georgia is fantastic, followed by Portugal and then Czech Republic. I prefer him over Rodri right now, and he is going to come into my team as the fourth midfielder. So we have 15.5 million left to spend, and there really is different directions that we can take this team. One direction that I've been looking at is just going all out for Germany. I spoke about it, the host nation. I think we definitely need at least one attacking option in that team. So the three that I've been looking at is, first one, Fabian Wirtz. Unbelievable season for Bayern Leverkusen, but I just don't really know whether that transpires into national team returns. He is a fantastic player, but I need to see a little bit in the friendlies to consider going for him at 7.5 million. Whereas on the other hand, we've got a player that is completely proven in this team in Gundogan. 7 million, slightly cheaper. I'm expecting his game time to be pretty good over this period. And of course, the Scotland game to kick things off. So I'm going to put Gundogan in for now, just because his ownership is so much less. This could be a good opportunity to swing against that of Fabian Wirtz. And it leaves us for 8.5 million in the bank to go for a forward. When we look at the options that are available to us in the forward department, we're just going to look at these here. So 8.5 million, we can have anything from Rafael Leao if you want to have another Portuguese attacker, João Felix, but again, I'm very dubious about their game time in here. Also, we can have somebody like a Diego Jota, again, coming back from injury. I'm not hugely fond of that one. Olivier Giroud, not hugely fond now that they have other options available to them. The one that I really do like is going to be Artem Dovbyk. I can never pronounce it, Dovbyk. Unbelievable season for Girona in La Liga, the highest scorer, and the fixtures are good. Look, Ukraine aren't necessarily going to be a big team in this competition, but Romania in the first game, Slovakia in the second game, and then Belgium in the third. I think these are great fixtures. Now, has he proven to score tons of goals for his national team? No, he has scored in the Euro qualifiers, but I haven't seen enough to think, oh my God, he is essential. But at 6 million, he is the one that I'm currently debating between him and, of course, Kai Havertz, who has had a fantastic season for Arsenal. 7.5 million as well. The fixtures are great. They are the home nation. I'm currently leaning towards Kai Havertz, but I do think Dovbyk is a brilliant option for our team. So this is how the team's currently looking right now. I think there is a lot to change, a lot to deliberate, but I like the structure of it. I really would like Ronaldo, but I just don't know how I'm going to fit him in unless we maybe downgrade Bruno Fernandes to another alternative player. And maybe an England midfielder needs to come in. But that's the current squad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm going to be dropping a how to play Euro Fantasy, my chip strategy video, updated drafts. So make sure you do like and subscribe, as I will be going through different players that we consider for our teams. But let me know your current draft in the comment sections. Yes, guys, okay, that is going to wrap up the first piece of content for Euro Fantasy 2024. I hope it provided some value. This was just a nice laid-back first team reveal. I'll be going into much more detail as we see the friendlies over the coming weeks, because that is really going to drive which players are absolutely essential for our teams. Right now, we can only speculate on the best players. Make sure you drop a like and smash that subscribe button. I'm really going to try and make as much Euro content as possible, including live streams leading up to the deadlines this season. Have an amazing day. Put your questions in the comment section, and I'll see you very soon.